Alright, time for a bedtime story before I end the night. Let's imagine we wake up tomorrow morning and you discover it's the morning of March 1st, 2020, and the last 2.5 years have been a complete nightmare and none of it happened and it's all good. You wake up, there's no pandemic, you get to go live your life as normal, right? Would that be a good or a bad thing to you, and what would your immediate thoughts be to do? I'll let you think about that, and I'll talk about my own story. Well, having said that, the last 2.5 months have been a nightmare. There have been a lot of good things that come out of it. Now, the very first thing I would probably think of doing is to make use of all the experiences that I have over the last 2.5 years, right? So, over the last 2.5 years, I wrote a number of computer games. I wrote the #1 AI for the game of backgammon. Kind of almost famous now because I named it Corona Gammon. I've competed in the Computer Olympiad. This will be my third time that I competed in the Computer Olympiad with Corona Gammon. I also made a lot of noise for being accepted for who I am, especially this past year. This past year, I decided to go on a hunger strike. You guys may have seen me lose a lot of weight and then gain some of it back. These last, well, I lost the weight in April and I mostly gained it back last month. And why did I do that? Because I wanted those around me to get concerned and have a dialogue with me. Too often, our society has a habit of just baiting along, even if something's not right, just baiting and baiting and baiting. Just look at how we handled the quarantine, right? People have a hard time even just rethinking about how they handle their everyday lives, right? I was just the other day, I really had to resist the temptation on speaking up. I was at King County Library, and I witnessed somebody with an eating disorder attack, right? They were eating a bag of chips, and it's one thing if you enjoy a bag of chips and you sit down to eat it. It's another when you munch away and shred a bag of chips, right? I really despise seeing people shred food. I really do. Because at the same time that they're not enjoying it, they don't even realize they're not enjoying it. And see, if that were some other bad habit, like not washing your hands or not covering your mouth when you cough or sneeze, nobody would hesitate to point out, hey, do you mind coughing into your elbow? Do you mind after using the bathroom, could you wash your hands, please? I've had people point that out to me in the past, not since COVID. In the past, I have been known to skip washing my hands. But this guy was shredding a bag of chips, and without a thought in the world. And it's one thing if somebody's just hurting themselves, but a lot of times we have prejudice in our everyday lives where people just don't stop and think that we could handle things in a different way. When I starved myself to near death, and my coworkers asked if I was okay, that's the kind of time when they're actually going to open their listening ears and actually have a discussion with me. Hey, there are some things I want to talk about at work. Anyway, #3 is I got really accepted for who I was living out in the Rocky Mountains. If I woke up tomorrow pre-COVID, COVID was a nightmare, I would probably strongly consider that. Although I have to say another possibility is I could, which is what I'm practicing right now, I could take the lessons I learned from the Rocky Mountains and try to import them here into Seattle. That's what I've been trying to do over the last year, with varying degrees of success, right? Obviously, I ended up having to starve myself just to make a point on that. Now, during the pandemic, unfortunately, I lost a few people who were near and dear to me to COVID. Altogether, I lost 3.5 close friends to COVID. If I woke up tomorrow, they were back. I would definitely, there are definitely times when I didn't handle my relationships with these people as best as I could. I wish I could get another chance at some of these people. I had a friend who, well, one of the first friends that I lost to COVID-19, he and I had some jealousy issues, but when I thought about him, a memory sticks out. He had helped me compose an email to a girl that I liked in class. The girl never responded, but we became close friends as a result. And what really sticks out is one day I was at his apartment. He was doing a chemistry experiment, And I asked him where to get a bunch of chemicals, and he told me, he said, oh, you could buy it at Home Depot. I had just broken up with a girl who was working part-time at the Home Depot, and he knew, and I went, oh. And, oh, no, don't go to Home Depot, then go to Lowe's instead. And now that he's gone, that memory forever haunts me, because it was the last time I ever saw him in person. We got busy with other studies. I never saw him in person again, and looking back, there were plenty of times when I could have gone to visit with him, I would definitely reevaluate my priorities if I had another chance to do that. Alright, feel free to leave a comment. Tomorrow it's March 1st, 2020. You wake up. What do you do? Thanks for watching.